my name is Darren. I'm a videographer based here in Leicester, here to showcase the creative talent we have here. Rather than me rambling on, let's see the creative talent we have here ourselves. Hello, how are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Just thought I'd ask you a few questions here. So can you tell us who you are and what you create?
Yeah, so I'm Ruby Voucher Townsend and I create immersive installations, almost like giant pop-up books. And I draw on my personal mythology and my lived and ancestral story.
Lovely. So what first inspired you to start your creative journey?
So I am a little gremlin who never sits down, and I've always been that way. So like when I was little, I used to go up the attic and then like rummage around in the dressing up box, and like just loved costumes and kind of like being in a fantasy world. But drawing was like the only thing that could sit me down. And kind of like having that like idea of like identity, like I used to go to school dressed as a cat because I wanted to be a cat. And also like quite a unique voice, which I got quite a lot of stick for. It felt safer to express myself in the way that I dress and do my art than verbally.
So what does your art say about you, your culture, or your story?
So I think art for me is everything. It's been like integral to my existence and I'd say like my survival as well. I draw a lot on Dutch folklore and my kind of like hidden past, which I don't know that much about. So I kind of create this history and I call it like a performative Dutch identity. So I'm like performing ancestral stories and wearing costumes, and it's kind of like not quite getting it right, but trying. Yeah, and that's quite a big part of my art.
Oh, of course, no, it definitely is. It's great to hear about yourself and obviously your experiences here of your journey. Now I just want to ask you a bit about your achievements as creators in Leicester struggle to shout about these. So has there been a piece or a project that really changed things for you?
Yeah, so my favourite project was, or like, I feel like the kind of start of this new journey was the Libra and the Pear Tree. And it was the first one where I kind of drew together, because I've danced for many years, but I never like performed in a fine art context. So like it was the first time that I performed and interacted with the audience in that way. And I kind of found this alter ego, and I played with ideas of like trauma responses, so fight, flight, freeze or fawn. And also kind of started to break the silence and come to the realisation that I was experiencing domestic abuse. So now I try to empower and educate, kind of using my story within my art.
So what legacy do you feel you're building here in Leicester or beyond?
So I hope that through kind of like multiple channels, so I lead workshops, I teach life drawing, and I try to make these as accessible as possible. And that art is for everyone, and it's an innate part of humanity. And sometimes we're told there's good or bad. Good or bad doesn't exist within art. As long as you're like being true to yourself and or just expressing yourself, there's not ever any wrong with it.
Of course, no, you really have created some amazing work, and obviously hearing about your workshops as well. I'm glad you're getting the recognition for it. I just want to link this to communities of both Leicester and Ilkeston. So how would you describe Leicester's creative scene in one word or two, and why?
So I would say, well, I think a cup of tea, even though that's not a word, that's a sentence because I'm cheeky. Because it is grounding and lovely and humble and just what you need at the right time.
Sure, so I think it's a very difficult question just to fit in one word. So I think one of them words makes sense, to be fair. No, it's lovely to hear. But just a few questions here about your inspirations. What collaborations or spaces have meant the most to your growth?
I would say Two Queens, Soft Touch, and the LCB Depot, as well as Ilkeston Contemporary Arts, have meant so much to my growth in so many different ways. So with Two Queens, it's such a wonderful community. It's always got inspiring exhibitions on, and it's a place where I've really felt held by a community, but also empowered and inspired, and it's just lovely. And Soft Touch is where I work, and kind of similarly, being in a really supportive workplace where I can see hopefully the positive impact I have on young creatives. And Ilkeston Contemporary Arts as well. There's just been amazing for me and empowering and supportive in so many different ways, and the community there is just so lovely.
No, of course, no, great. It's lovely to hear that there's so many creative spaces here for you to kind of flourish. So what themes or messages drive your work right now?
So as a survivor of domestic abuse, does underpin my practice, but theatricality, the performative identity, a sense of voyeurism, but also joy and kindness and humour, and a sense of justice. So the resilience of joy and the resilience of humour and ridiculousness, and that sense that once in my paintings I can be anyone. I can have, and I can be a fish or a cat or a bat, or a witch, or a nasty priest, or a boy that gets taken by the cheese fairies. And there's a lot of darkness in those stories, but there's also a lot of the boy gets taken by the cheese fairy, so yeah, why not?
It's amazing to hear obviously your inspirations and how you incorporate into your work. You can really see into it. So just finally, I just want to discuss obviously your vision, or if you had any advice for any up-and-coming artists. So where do you want to take your art, would you say, in the next 5 years?
So at the minute I'm working on a kind of a travelling theatre, a miniature theatre world, based on the idea of Punch and Judy, but exploiting the idea of that in a sense, because I want to educate about the complexities of coercive control, and so hopefully kind of provide a bit more of a framework that can be taken to different places to educate healthy relationships, what healthy relationships look like, power dynamics, and kind of advocate for more safeguarding in schools and universities.
Of course, no, that sounds really rewarding as well, to be fair. So what would you say to any young or emerging creators in Leicester watching this?
I would say you can do anything, and every time a little voice in your head pops up, tell it to, if it's not being very nice, think about your inner voice and think, would I say this to my best friend? and try to remember all the wonderful things you're good at and that you can do anything. And if you need help, ask for it. I think Leicester's a very good community for supporting each other. So if you want to be shown something, there's brilliant spaces for that, especially soft touch, but also local artists will be like, yeah, you can do this. This is how you do this. You don't need to be anyone can be an artist. It doesn't matter your background. Just be you.
No, that sounds like some really good advice. So just the final one here from me. So what's next for you? Any exciting projects or we can look out for?
Yeah, so my next exhibition I'm curating is called If the Pixies Roam, and it's about the power of storytelling as a rebellious act and the importance of community and kind of shared histories and recognizing histories.
That sounds lovely. I'm sure we're all looking forward to it as well, Ruby. But thank you very much for your time. It's been lovely chatting to you, and all the best for the future. Well, I'm sure we're all looking forward to your work.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.